Breakfast is called the most important meal of the day. Fast food companies are taking new steps for a bite. They're fighting hard over the nearly $50 billion a year morning market.
We tried 10 of the best breakfast chains to see which one was the best. Some were tasty, some were weird, and one really stood out. Let's kick things off with our first breakfast chain. It's 6:15 a.m. on a Tuesday when I push open the door to Waffle House. The smell hits me first, a symphony of butter, bacon, and something that can only be described as decades of dedicated griddle use. The sizzle of hash browns provides the percussion to a country roads cover blasting from a jukebox that's seen better days. In the corner, a cook shouts, "Order up!" with the authority of someone who's been flipping eggs since the Reagan administration. The pancakes arrive looking like they've been on a crash diet, thin but surprisingly flavorful. The bacon is saltier than the tears of a trucker who just found out the truck stop ran out of shower tokens. But the hash browns? Those crispy potato shreds deserve a spot in the Breakfast Hall of Fame. Scattered, smothered, and covered isn't just an ordering style. It's practically a Southern prayer. What makes Waffle House truly special isn't just the food. It's that they never close. Ever. The Federal Emergency Management Agency actually uses something called the Waffle House Index to measure disaster severity. If the local Waffle House closes, you know things are really bad. Just last week, I watched a regular customer who, according to my waitress, had ordered the exact same meal, 2 eggs over easy, toast, and coffee, every day for 14 years. Then, without warning, he added a single sausage link. The waitress nearly dropped her pot of coffee. That's what passes for drama at Waffle House, and honestly, I'm here for it. But not every breakfast spot serves up its eggs with a side of theater. Where were you at 8 a.m. when the pancakes were undercooked? Can you explain why your syrup-to-pancake ratio exceeds the legal limit? The International House of Pancakes feels less like a restaurant and more like a sugary crime scene. Unlike the open theater of Waffle House, IHOP operates behind closed curtains and booth dividers. The famous pancakes arrive at the table stacked high, each one a perfect circle that would make geometry teachers proud. These pancakes are so perfectly round, they could moonlight as frisbees at the park. The fluff factor is impressive. Each bite compresses down to half its size, like memory foam for your mouth. The syrup choices overwhelm even the most decisive breakfast eaters. Strawberry, blueberry, butter pecan, and the classic maple, all lined up like suspects in a breakfast lineup. The sausage links, however, remain a mystery. What exactly makes them that particular shade of brown? Some questions are better left unanswered. One full IHOP breakfast platter packs a shocking 1,300 calories. That's roughly 60% of what the average adult should eat in an entire day, all before 10 a.m. No wonder the booths are so comfortable. They're designed for the food coma that follows. There's something slightly criminal about sitting in an IHOP past noon. The judgment from the waitstaff grows stronger with each passing hour. By 2 p.m., you're practically a breakfast outlaw. After all that syrup and suspicion, perhaps we need something more wholesome. Walking into Cracker Barrel feels like stepping into a time machine. The country store smell hits you first, a mix of cinnamon candles, candy sticks, and wooden toys that nobody actually buys. 600 rocking chairs line the front porch, all empty because who has time to rock when there are biscuits waiting inside? The menu reads like a love letter to comfort food. Biscuits arrive at the table golden and warm, crumbling apart with just a sideways glance. These biscuits are more fragile than my last New Year's resolution. When covered in sausage gravy thicker than a Southern accent, they transform into something magical. A breakfast that sticks to both your plate and your ribs. The old-timer's breakfast comes with everything except a nap, which you'll need to supply yourself. Eggs cooked your way, grits that taste like actual corn instead of cardboard, thick-cut bacon, and country ham that will have you checking your blood pressure app. Did you know Cracker Barrel sells 11 million servings of chicken and dumplings every year? That's enough dumplings to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool, though I wouldn't recommend swimming in them. The waitstaff calls everyone honey or sugar, regardless of age or blood relation. You leave full, sleepy, and slightly confused about whether that server was actually your aunt from 3 states away. The food doesn't just feed your body, it feeds nostalgia for a time you might not even remember. Time to swap the wooden rocking chairs for something more modern and sleek, where the only thing in the country is avocado toast. A few months ago, I had no idea what a health ring even was until my fiancé got me one, and I have to say, I am shocked this isn't a widely known and used product. It tracks my stress levels, and what I found out is that each time I took certain medication, my body's stress levels went up 2 to 3 times my usual levels. So I immediately stopped taking that medication, and I can honestly say this made me feel 10 years younger. My wife mainly uses it to track her menstrual cycles, and she is obsessed with her sleep quality score. I noticed they were running a limited 69% discount, but the offer is expiring soon. It's currently only $60, and it's clear this one is the best bang for your buck with other health rings priced around $350 with less functions. They managed to price it this low because they cut out the middleman like Amazon, Walmart, etc., who drive up the price and take a big margin, ending up with the customer paying 3 to 5 times more. If you are on TV, you can check it out yourself by pausing the video and scanning the QR code with your phone camera or clicking the first link in the description of this video. Walking into Panera Bread feels like stepping into a LinkedIn profile come to life. The lighting is perfect, the decor is tastefully neutral, and somehow the avocado is always perfectly ripe, as if tended by dedicated avocado whisperers behind the scenes. Today's breakfast crowd looks like they just finished hot yoga and have a corporate Zoom call in 20 minutes. I order the breakfast sandwich on ciabatta, a bread that's almost too sophisticated for the morning hours. It has that certain air of "I studied abroad once" that makes me feel both cultured and slightly inadequate. The egg is fluffy, the cheese is melty, and everything tastes suspiciously healthy despite being a sandwich. The barista just corrected my pronunciation of ciabatta. Power move. The coffee here tastes like it graduated from a liberal arts college, but hasn't quite figured out what to do with its degree. Not bitter enough to be impressive, not sweet enough to be enjoyable. Just existing in a beige world of its own, served in earth-toned cups that match the decor and the clientele's neutral-colored athleisure wear. An interesting fact about Panera: their famous "You Pick Two" option wasn't designed merely for convenience. It was secretly invented to make you feel healthy while actually eating 2 meals at once. It's the food equivalent of saying, "I'll just look at the dessert menu," when we all know what's about to happen. Everyone around me is typing on MacBooks. The tables are spotless. The music is just loud enough to hear, but quiet enough to ignore. It's breakfast as performative art, clean, orderly, and just a bit pretentious. I leave feeling fuller than expected, but somehow virtuous. The receipt shows I paid $8 for coffee. That explains the virtuous feeling. I've made a sacrifice to the breakfast gods. We needed something less proper, more Greece, a place where philosophers gather after midnight. It was 3:17 a.m. when I pushed open the door of Denny's last Saturday night, or technically Sunday morning. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like they were telling secrets. A man in flip-flops at the counter was confidently ordering a medium-rare steak while solving what appeared to be calculus problems on a napkin. The Grand Slam breakfast landed on my table with a gentle thud. 4 perfectly round pancakes, 2 sunny-side-up eggs that seemed to be staring back at me, 2 strips of bacon that had given up being crispy hours ago, and 2 sausage links that had seen better days. The menu is printed on laminated paper, presumably to withstand both maple syrup spills and existential tears at 4 a.m. Did you know Denny's serves 12.5 million Grand Slams every year? That's over 34,000 Grand Slams every day, or about 23 Grand Slams every minute, each one sliding across the table to someone making questionable life choices at unusual hours. The beauty of Denny's lies in its democracy. The booth next to me held a family of 5 straight from a soccer game. Behind them, 2 college students discussed quantum physics while sharing a plate of mozzarella sticks. To my right, a truck driver silently worked through a slice of pie while reading a paperback novel. The menu itself is an epic journey, longer than most classic novels and with more plot twists. After page 6, you'll find breakfast foods hiding in the dinner section and desserts masquerading as breakfast. The coffee keeps coming until you physically hide your cup, and even then, refills appear like magic when you blink. Time has no meaning here. Breakfast at dinner, dinner at breakfast. The world outside may be dark or light, but inside Denny's, it's always just Denny's o'clock. Maybe tomorrow we should try some place that doesn't require sunglasses to adjust to the daylight when we leave. First Watch restaurants serve actual vegetables before noon, a revolutionary concept in the breakfast world. Their avocado toast arrives looking like it already has 20 likes on social media. The sweet potato hash isn't just orange for show, it contains real sweet potatoes that grew in actual dirt. Their menu has more plants than most people's apartments. The staff all seem to have perfect teeth and genuinely good moods, as if they wake up naturally without alarms. When they bring you water, it has cucumber slices floating in it, because regular water is apparently too boring for brunch in 2025. The toast costs $15, and yes, that's just for the toast. Your bank account will feel lighter than their gluten-free pancakes. Black coffee costs $4.50, which is approximately $4 more than it should. Did you know that 85% of First Watch locations close by 2:30 p.m.? They're literally too good for dinner. They open at 7 a.m. and shut down just as the rest of us are considering a late lunch. It's a power move that says, we only exist during the most photogenic hours of the day. Next, we went somewhere with no kale in sight, where breakfast comes with a side of motor oil. Visiting Sonic for breakfast feels like stepping back to a time when cars had fins and milkshakes had real ice cream. The menu greets you through a slightly scratchy speaker box, and your food arrives on the tray of a server on roller skates. The breakfast burrito comes wrapped in foil and weighs about as much as a small textbook. It tastes exactly like 2007, though I couldn't tell you why that specific year comes to mind. The French toast sticks arrive in a cardboard container, 4 golden brown rectangles dusted with cinnamon and sugar. They look innocent enough until you dunk them in that tiny cup of maple-flavored syrup. One bite, and you're transported back to Saturday morning cartoons. Then there are the tater tots, the true heroes of the Sonic breakfast experience. 3 days later, I'm still thinking about those tots while making important life decisions. Sonic stands out as one of the few places where you can eat breakfast in your pajamas, and nobody flinches. Did you know Sonic's entire breakfast menu fits in one glove box? It's not extensive, but what they do well. After finishing our car-based breakfast, it was time to switch gears to something a bit more proper. Why should we hire your chicken biscuit? The question hangs in the air as the Chick-fil-A breakfast menu sits across the interview table. The chicken biscuit responds with confidence. Because I crumble under pressure, but deliver flavor consistently. The chicken biscuit gets the job every morning except Sunday. The famous chicken biscuit at Chick-fil-A isn't just breakfast, it's a morning ritual with a cult following. A perfectly fried chicken breast nestled inside a buttery biscuit that manages to be both flaky and sturdy. Add a packet of honey, and you've created a sweet, savory masterpiece that makes waking up before 10:30 a.m. almost worth it. The hash brown nuggets are crispy potato bites that come in a cardboard pouch. These aren't flat, diner-style hash browns. They're three-dimensional potato treasures, fried to golden perfection and just salty enough to make you reach for that sweet tea. It's the only place where your coffee comes with a "my pleasure" instead of a grunt and eye roll. Did you know people have actually filed lawsuits over Sunday Chick-fil-A cravings? The chain's famous closed on Sunday policy has driven some breakfast fans to the edge of sanity. After all this modern fast food politeness, perhaps we need something more traditional. Bob Evans is where you'll find yourself after doctor's appointments. The restaurant feels like a reward for getting your blood pressure checked. The dining room is always filled with folks who remember when gas cost less than $1 per gallon. The menu at Bob Evans doesn't try to be fancy. Eggs cooked exactly how you order them. Grits that taste like actual corn. Bacon cut thick enough to be satisfying. Sausage made from a recipe that probably hasn't changed since 1968. The gravy has little bits of sausage floating in it, like meat life rafts in a cream ocean. Did you know Bob Evans uses over 100 million eggs per year? That's enough to make an omelet the size of Rhode Island. Their breakfast alone keeps thousands of chickens employed full-time. The waitresses call you honey, but not in that fake way. They actually mean it. The coffee is always hot, and they don't judge you for ordering breakfast at 4 p.m. The food tastes like it was cooked by someone who actually cares about your cholesterol levels. Nothing on the menu will confuse you, and the most exotic ingredient is probably cinnamon. Now, let's test the final one. The surprise contender in the breakfast game. All rise. The Honorable Breakfast Court is now in session. The case, the People versus McDonald's breakfast menu. Your Honor, the Egg McMuffin pleads guilty to being iconic. That perfect circle of egg, the slice of Canadian bacon, and American cheese melted on an English muffin. It's the breakfast equivalent of a well-tailored suit. Simple, classic, and it gets the job done. The McDonald's hash brown is called to testify next. Golden and crispy, shaped like a tiny edible surfboard. It speaks no words, but its satisfying crunch when you bite into it says everything. Did you know McDonald's breakfast menu generates over $10 billion annually? That's more than the entire economy of some small countries, all from eggs and potatoes served before 10:30 a.m. There's something strangely comforting about the artificial taste of McDonald's breakfast. It's not trying to be gourmet. It's the breakfast you crave once a month like clockwork, usually while making questionable life choices at 6 a.m. The verdict is in: McDonald's breakfast is guilty of standing the test of time.